My father said he was going to cook us something special for dinner to celebrate finding Fudge in the movies. I thought that was really strange because as far as I know, my father can't cook anything. He doesn't even know where my mother keeps the peanut butter, the dishes, or the pots and pans. That's not my house. I do a lot of cooking. Lucky for him, I was there to show him. What are you going to cook, Dad? A super duper omelet, he said. Us eggs. Omelet? I'm not sure Fudge likes omelets. You'll like this one, my father said, humming as he gathered his ingredients together. Get me a big frying pan, Peter. Okay, I said, and gave it to him. He melted some butter in it. What's going in the super duper omelet? I asked while Fudge sat on the floor, banging two pot covers together. Well, eggs, of course, my father said. Omelets are made of eggs. And what else? I asked. I think I'll make a mushroom omelet. Eggs and mushrooms? I like mushroom omelets. Yes, you'll love it. I'm not so sure. You'll see, Peter, my father said. I sat up on the table while my father cooked. I even put Fudge in his booster chair. When the omelet was done, my father brought it in to us. He was still humming. That's a big omelet, I said when I saw it. I filled up the whole frying pan. How many eggs did you use? About a dozen, my father said. Mom only cooks one at a time, I told him. For my family, we usually use around 8 eggs. When you taste this, you'll know why I use them all up. You mean it's that good? I asked. Go on, my father said as he served it. Taste it. I took a bite. It was awful. The worst thing I ever ate in my life. But my father was standing there grinning at me. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. Well, he said. It's nice, I told him, swallowing a chunk whole. I washed it down with a glass of milk. You see, your mother ought to experiment more. Then you'd learn to eat a lot of different things. Oh my gosh, whatever, Dad. I don't think Mom ever made me a mushroom omelet, I said. My father put some on Fudge's plate. Then he served himself. Fudge shoved a lot into his mouth at once. I figured he'd choke on it. Instead, he said, "Oh, good." My father beamed. Fudge wasn't smart enough to fool my father, so he must have really liked it. But a kid that can eat flowers and swallow teeth wouldn't know how much about omelets anyway. Then my father sat down and tasted his super-duper concoction. He not only choked on it, he spit it out. Ugh! Oh no, he said, this is awful. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe the eggs are rotten. Mom just bought them on Thursday, I said. Maybe it's the mushrooms then, my father said. Maybe it's how you cooked it? Ooh, getting honest. My father jumped up from the table and threw the mushroom omelet into the garbage. Fudge started to cry. What? More! More! No, my father told him. It wasn't any good. Fudge screamed, eat it or wear it! Eat it or wear it! He flung his spoon across the room. It hit my mother's favorite plant. The dirt spilled all over the kitchen floor. Now you stop that! My father yelled at Fudge. I'm going to make us nice peanut butter sandwiches. Then you're going to have a bath. Your mom is coming home tomorrow, and we're going to show her how well Daddy managed all by himself. Peter, where does your mother hide the peanut butter? After supper, my father bathed Fudge. The only thing he decided not to do were the dishes. He stacked them in the sink and left them for my mother. Boo! On Sunday afternoon, we drove out to the airport to meet my mother's plane. On the way there, my father said, wouldn't it be fun if we kept all the things we did over the weekend a secret? Just between the three of us. Kind of a man's secret. I agreed not to say a word. My mother was so glad to see us that she didn't even mention the dirty dishes in the sink. 6 weeks later, we were watching TV one night when the new Toddlebite commercial came on. That's me, Fudge said. My mother looked up from the book she was reading. He does look like you, Fudge, but that's not really you. Oh, yes, Fudge said. That's me, see? My mother squinted and looked harder. You know, Warren, she was my father, he really does look like Fudge. Then she laughed. Imagine another little boy like Fudge. It's Fudge, all right. It's Fudge, all right, my brother repeated. We didn't tell you, my dear, my father said. We thought you'd like to be surprised. But that is Fudge. What? My mother said, like she couldn't believe it. You see, Mom, remember that weekend you went to visit Aunt Linda? Then I stopped and thought about all the things my mother didn't know. Like the puddles Fudge splashed in, and the paper towels up his pants, and how he wanted to touch the bears, and the mushroom omelet, and Mr. Vincent and his big cigar, and Janet with her goldfish crackers. And I looked at my father, and I started to laugh. So did he.